The alien princess asked in sadness, "Why don't you sense me, human Part 1? The quiet bond that never formed. Alex Carter had never imagined that his life would lead him to the heart of an alien empire. As a human envoy, he had been trained to observe, negotiate, and adapt. But nothing in his training had prepared him for the alien city that rose like crystal towers against the sky. The streets were smooth and shining, and the air smelled faintly of flowers he had never seen before. Everywhere he looked, aliens walked with a grace and calm he could barely understand. He had arrived a week ago, sent by the Human Council to establish peaceful relations with the ruling family. The alien race, known as the Solari, were famous across the galaxy for their emotional connection. They did not speak first with words, but with a deep sensing of each other's feelings. Every Solari could feel the joy, fear, anger, or sadness of another, as if emotions were threads that ran through the air. Alex could not sense any of it. No matter how close he stood to a Solari, no matter how strongly they felt, he felt nothing. The first time he met Princess Alira, the young heir to the throne, he had thought she was like the others, calm, polite, and graceful. She had emerald green eyes that seemed to shine even in the dim light of the palace hall. She had smiled at him warmly, and Alex had smiled back, trying to match her expression. She reached out, her hand brushing his arm, and he felt only her soft skin. "Do you feel me, human?" she had asked quietly. Her voice was gentle, almost like a melody. Alex had looked at her, confused. "I'm not sure what you mean," he said honestly. Her smile faltered for the first time. She had expected him to feel her presence, to recognize the bond that all Solari felt naturally. Alex could not. He did not understand it, and she could not understand him. The palace staff began to whisper. "He is different," they said. "He does not sense her." Some looked worried. The Solari had always believed that emotional sensing was the mark of intelligence and connection. To them, Alex's inability to feel made him strange, maybe even dangerous. Alex noticed the change in their eyes but said nothing. He had learned long ago that silence was safer than explaining too much. He did not want to offend anyone, and he did not want to seem weak. He reminded himself that humans did not sense emotions like Solari. Humans showed care through actions, not invisible threads. Over the next few days, Princess Alira tried again. She invited him to walk through the crystal gardens, a place where the flowers glowed in soft colors, and the air carried a faint, sweet scent. The trees swayed without wind, moving as if alive. Alex could feel only the quiet beauty of the place, not the emotions hidden in the air. "Look at the lilies," Alira said softly. "They are blooming for joy. Do you sense it?" She reached out to touch one. Alex knelt to examine the flower. "They are beautiful," he said, touching the petals gently. "I can see that, but I don't sense the joy you mean." Alira's face fell. She had expected him to feel her world the way she did. Her eyes filled with a sadness she had never shown to anyone before. "Why not?" she asked, her voice trembling. "Why can you not feel me?" Alex did not know how to answer. The truth was simple. He could not feel her presence in the way she meant. Humans had hearts that responded to actions, not unseen currents of emotion. He wanted to say it, but he feared hurting her. Finally, he spoke slowly. "I cannot feel it the way you do. Humans, we understand through words and deeds, through what we do for each other, not through sensing." Alira looked at him, puzzled. She had never met anyone like him. No one had ever failed to sense her presence before. She stepped back, unsure. She wanted to be angry, but the sadness was stronger. "So you do not care?" "I do care," Alex said immediately. "Maybe not in the way you expect, but I do. I want to understand. I want to help." She studied him for a long moment. His words were honest, but she could not feel them. To her, words were less powerful than emotion. She nodded slowly, though inside she felt a quiet ache. The next days passed quietly, but the whispers in the palace grew louder. Nobles and guards watched Alex with suspicion. Some thought he might be dangerous, not because of what he could do, but because of what he could not feel. Alira tried to ignore it, focusing instead on small moments with Alex. They walked through gardens, visited libraries filled with glowing crystals that stored knowledge, and shared meals in the sunlit halls. Alex learned more about the Solari each day. They were kind, patient, and deeply connected to one another. He admired their ways, but could not join them fully. He tried, moving his hands in gestures they used to show care, speaking words of comfort, and staying near when they needed him. Slowly, Elira began to notice the effort. "You try very hard," she said one morning as they sat near a fountain with water that shone like liquid silver. Maybe you do sense me, just not in the way I know." Alex smiled. "Maybe that is it. Maybe I sense you in my own human way." She looked down at her hands, still feeling a strange emptiness. I wish it were easier. I wish I could feel you the way I feel my people. It hurts when I cannot reach you." Alex reached out, gently taking her hand. "I will stay. I will try, every day, to understand you. I may not feel it like you, but I will show it. Actions speak louder than feelings, at least for me." Elira looked at him, and, for a moment, the sadness faded. She nodded slowly, but a small shadow remained in her green eyes. She did not fully understand humans yet, and she did not know if she ever could. But she knew that Alex meant what he said, and perhaps, in that truth, there was something more than sensing, something stronger. The palace seemed to hold its breath. Alex's presence was a puzzle to the Solari, a question without an answer. The whispers continued, but Elira stood by him, quietly teaching her people that sometimes differences could be bridged by patience and trust. She had never felt such persistence before, and a part of her hoped that humans, though strange, might offer something the Solari had never known: love and care that grew from choice rather than instinct. Evening came, and the twin moons of the capital rose over the towers, casting soft silver light over the gardens. Alex and Elira walked side by side, each lost in thought. She wondered if humans would always be so different, and he wondered how to show her that his human way was real, that his heart was not empty, only unfamiliar. The quiet bond between them had not formed in the way the Solari expected. No invisible threads connected them. No shared currents of emotion flowed through the air. But a bond was forming nonetheless, one built on understanding, respect, and actions. It was fragile, but it was there. As the stars began to shine above the crystal towers, Alex felt a strange sense of peace. He did not sense her in the way the Solari did, but he felt responsibility, care, and a desire to protect. These feelings were human, solid, and real. He knew that someday, perhaps, Elira would understand. Or perhaps not. But he would stay and try anyway. Princess Elira watched him, and, for the first time, she allowed herself a quiet hope. Perhaps the human way was different, yes, but it was not empty. Perhaps this human, Alex Carter, could show her a kind of bond she had never imagined. And, though she could not sense it yet, she decided she would try to learn his language of care, one action at a time. The palace settled into night, quiet except for the soft glow of the gardens. Alex and Elira parted for the night, each carrying a new thought in their hearts. She wondered if sadness would always accompany their connection, and he wondered how to reach a heart that could not be felt. Both were ready to try, though, and sometimes that was enough to begin. Part 2. Sadness inside the Crystal Palace. The morning sun spilled across the crystal towers of the Solari capital. Light passed through the towers like water, casting patterns on the streets below. Alex Carter woke in his guest quarters, thinking about Princess Elira. Though she had smiled yesterday, he could still see the shadow in her green eyes. He wondered if he would ever understand the way she felt. Humans and Solari were so different. He knew he could not sense her emotions, but he could act, and that was what mattered most. The palace hallways were quiet as Alex walked toward the central garden. The walls glimmered softly, and the air smelled faintly of lilies and jasmine. It was peaceful, but the calm made him uneasy. The Solari were watching him, observing every movement, trying to understand why he did not react like them. Alex felt their eyes on him, but he kept walking, his mind focused on Elira. He found her standing near the reflecting pool. The water was clear and smooth, and the sunlight made it shine like silver. Elira's expression was sad, and she looked down at the water, her fingers lightly touching the edge. When she noticed Alex, she straightened slightly, but did not smile. "Good morning, human," she said softly. Her voice sounded like a gentle breeze, but there was a sadness behind it that Alex could not feel, only see. "Good morning, princess," he said, bowing slightly out of respect. "You look well." She shook her head. "I do not feel well. I keep thinking, why can you not sense me?" She stepped closer to him, her eyes searching his face. "Do you not feel me at all?" Alex looked at her honestly. "I feel you in my own way. Not through your emotions, but through your words, your actions, and the moments we share. Humans do not sense feelings the way you do." Elira's lips trembled. She wanted to be angry, to demand that he see her the way the Solari always saw each other. Instead, she felt a hollow emptiness, a sadness she could not share fully. "It is not enough," she said quietly. "I do not understand it, and it hurts." Alex reached out gently. "I am not empty. I care for you. I want to understand you. Maybe our ways are different, but my heart is here, even if you cannot sense it." Her eyes searched his, looking for proof. She could see his sincerity, but it was not the same as feeling him. She sighed, stepping back. "Perhaps I must learn your way. But it is hard." Alex smiled softly. "I can teach you. Not the way I feel it, but the way humans show care." For a long while, they walked through the gardens in silence. The flowers glowed softly in colors Alex could not name. The paths curved under arches of crystalline vines, and small fountains sparkled in the sunlight. Solari servants passed by, bowing low. They whispered to each other, watching Alex. "They do not understand you," Elira said finally. "They think you are strange. Some of them fear you. They believe humans are dangerous because you cannot sense." Alex shrugged. "I cannot help what I cannot do, but I can act. Maybe someday my actions will show them what words cannot." Elira nodded, but sadness remained. She had never met anyone like Alex. The other humans she had heard of were scholars or diplomats, but none had been here in person, and none had been like him. Different, stubborn, and strangely calm. She did not know if she would ever fully reach him. The palace bell rang, calling for the morning council. Elira turned toward the hall. "Come with me," she said. "I want you to see how my world works, even if it confuses you." Alex followed her. The council chamber was large and filled with light. The walls shimmered with crystal panels, and dozens of Solari nobles sat in soft chairs arranged in a circle. They watched him closely as he entered. Elira stepped forward. "Human envoy Alex Carter, I present you to the council." Murmurs passed through the chamber. Some nobles whispered in alarm. Alex could not sense their fear or curiosity, only hear it faintly in their tones. He bowed respectfully. "I am honored to be here," he said simply. The council elder, an older Solari with silver hair and eyes like polished stone, spoke. "Human, do you understand our ways? Do you feel the bonds we share?" Alex shook his head. "I do not. Humans experience connection differently. We show care through action, through effort, and choice, not through sensing invisible threads. I wish to learn, and I wish to help, but I cannot feel the bonds the way you do," some nobles whispered sharply. Others looked thoughtful. Elira stepped forward. "He is different," she said softly, "but that does not mean he is without care. We must learn from him, as he must learn from us." The council elders studied Alex carefully. "Humans are known to act through will and determination. If what you say is true, perhaps your actions will reveal the bond you cannot sense." He nodded slowly. "We will watch and see." After the council meeting, Alex and Elira walked back through the palace gardens. The sun was higher now, warm on their skin. Elira seemed lost in thought. "It is not easy," she said quietly. "My people expect connection through sensing. They do not understand that some beings feel differently. I fear they will never accept you." Alex stopped and looked at her. "Acceptance is earned. I do not need to be sensed to care. I only need to show it. If you trust me, it is enough." Elira smiled faintly, a little of the sadness lifting. "Your words are strange to me, but they matter." Over the next few days, they spent time together, exploring hidden gardens, quiet libraries, and halls filled with glowing knowledge crystals. Alex listened to Elira as she explained her people's history, their traditions, and the importance of sensing bonds. He asked questions, learning carefully, never mocking, never pretending. He acted respectfully, following their rules, showing his care through patience and attention. Princess Alira began to notice subtle changes. Alex did not sense her, but he acted in ways that mattered. When she stumbled on a path, he reached out to steady her. When a book fell from a high shelf, he caught it. When a small child got lost in the gardens, he helped find the way. His presence brought calm and security, even if it was not the same as the silent sensing her people expected. Yet, the emptiness remained in her heart. She could not feel the threads of connection that should have existed. She felt frustrated with herself for expecting it. She wondered if humans were incapable of true care. And yet, with Alex, she saw something else. A determination that was quiet but strong, a willingness to act even when sensing was impossible. One evening, as the twin moons rose in the sky, Alex and Alira sat near the reflecting pool. The water mirrored the silver moons, and the soft wind moved the flowers in gentle waves. Alira's eyes were sad, but calmer than before. "I still do not feel you the way I feel my people," she said. "But I see you, Alex. Your actions, your choices. Maybe that is your bond. Maybe I do not need to sense it to know it is real." Alex smiled. "That is all I can ask. Humans show care through action. It may not be the way you expect, but it is enough." Alira reached out and touched his hand. She could not feel a thread connecting them, but she felt a strange warmth inside. Perhaps it was hope. Perhaps it was trust. It was not what she knew, but it was something new, something worth holding. The palace settled into quiet night. Lights in the crystal towers dimmed, and the gardens glowed softly. Alex and Alira walked slowly, side by side, each thinking about the other. She thought about the human way, strange but firm. He thought about the Solari way, beautiful but unreachable. And yet, despite the differences, they had found something, an understanding, a quiet bond that was not sensed, but known. As the stars filled the sky, Alira whispered softly, almost to herself, "I will try to understand you, Alex. Even if I cannot feel you, I will watch, and I will learn." Alex nodded, his hand brushing hers lightly. "And I will do the same. I will show you care, every day, in the human way." In the quiet of the Crystal Palace, a new connection had begun. It was fragile, incomplete, and different from everything the Solari had known. But it was real, and, for both of them, it was enough to take the next step. The palace may have doubted him, and she may have wished for sensing, but for Alex and Alira, action and trust had begun to bridge the gap between two very different worlds. And in that fragile trust, a seed of something stronger was planted, something neither of them fully understood, but both would learn to nurture. Part 3. Danger reveals the human way. The Solari capital had never been so still. The crystal towers glowed softly in the morning light, and the gardens were quiet, but the peace was fragile. Alex Carter walked alongside Princess Alira through the palace courtyard, noticing how alert she was. She had sensed unease among the guards and nobles, even if Alex could not. "Something is wrong," she said quietly, her green eyes scanning the sky. "I feel it in the threads of the city. Danger is near." Alex looked around, trying to sense the same feeling. He felt nothing. "I do not feel it," he said honestly. "What do you think it is?" Alira shook her head. "I do not know. But the threads of fear are strong. Something is coming, and it is not small." Before Alex could reply, the sky above the capital darkened. Shadows moved across the shining towers, unnatural and fast. A deep hum filled the air, vibrating through the crystal streets. Citizens began to panic as glowing machines descended from above. They were tall, angular, and armed with weapons Alex had never seen. The machines moved with precision, destroying anything in their path. "Attack!" a guard shouted. Panic spread quickly through the palace. The Solari guards froze for a moment, confused. Their sensing was disrupted. They could not read the fear of the machines, and their own emotions became chaotic. They hesitated, unsure how to act. Alex saw the danger clearly. Without hesitation, he ran toward the palace gates, shouting orders in a firm voice. "Move civilians to the inner halls. Stay low. Protect the children." Princess Alira followed, moving quickly to help. "Human," she called. "How do you know what to do?" Alex glanced at her, his face serious. "Humans act. even when we do not feel the threads of fear. We trust our senses and our training. He organized the palace staff, guards, and citizens, guiding them to safe areas. He formed teams to barricade entrances and help the wounded. His actions were precise, fast, and calm. Elira watched, amazed. He did not sense the danger like the Solari, but he reacted to it perfectly. He is saving us, she whispered. Even without sensing, he can protect. The machines attacked again, firing beams of light that shattered crystal walls. A group of guards hesitated, unable to act. Alex charged forward, moving past them to block the beams with his body when necessary. He grabbed a young guard who had frozen and shouted, "Follow me." Now, the guard obeyed, finally, moving under Alex's lead. Elira ran beside him, helping where she could. She realized something she had never understood before. Humans bonded through choice and action, not invisible threads. Alex did not feel the fear or sadness around him, but he chose to protect, to act, and that choice was stronger than any sensation she had ever known. They reached the central plaza, where the largest machines were attacking the main fountain. The water exploded into the air as one machine fired a heavy blast. Elira grabbed Alex's arm. "We cannot stop them alone." Alex shook his head. "We can try. Humans face impossible odds all the time. We act first, think later, and trust our courage." He looked around quickly and spotted a group of crystal beams that could be used to reflect sunlight. "Help me move these panels," he shouted. The guards and Elira joined him, lifting the crystal panels to create a barrier. Alex aimed the panels to focus the sunlight into the machine's sensors. The beams struck, causing sparks and temporary malfunctions. One by one, the machines faltered, giving the Solari guards time to regroup. Elira was shocked. She had never seen anyone act with such clarity without sensing the environment emotionally. Alex had no thread guiding him, yet he understood instinctively what to do. He moved calmly among chaos, directing people, taking risks, and keeping the wounded safe. "Human," she whispered, barely audible over the battle. I see you now. I feel your care, even if it is not the way we do." Alex looked at her quickly. "Stay close, Elira. We are not safe yet." A loud roar shook the plaza. One of the machines broke free from the sunlight reflection and advanced toward the palace gates. A group of young guards froze again, unsure how to respond. Alex ran forward, standing between the machine and the gate. He grabbed a heavy crystal shard from the ground and hurled it with all his strength. It struck the machine's sensor, causing it to stumble. Elira ran to him. "Alex, you could be hurt." "I know," he said firmly. "But someone must act. Humans act, even when the odds are impossible." He led a small group of Solari guards in a precise attack, using the machine's momentary confusion to disable their weapons and redirect them away from civilians. Every move he made was calculated, efficient, and brave. Elira watched him, realizing that this was the human way of bonding, through courage, sacrifice, and action, not through invisible threads. Hours passed, though it felt like minutes. The battle raged across the palace grounds. The machines fired relentlessly, but Alex never wavered. He coordinated defenses, pulled people from danger, and risked himself to shield those who could not move fast enough. Elira assisted where she could, using her people's sensing to detect danger that Alex could not perceive, and together they formed a remarkable team. Finally, the largest machine, a towering figure with glowing red eyes, moved toward the main palace hall. Alex knew that if it reached there, the royal family and the citizens would be in grave danger. He shouted to the guards, "I will stop it. Cover the civilians and protect the exits." Elira protested, but Alex ran forward. He dodged laser fire and struck the machine's legs with heavy crystal slabs, slowing its advance. He climbed onto its side, using his strength and determination to damage critical components. Sparks flew as the machine struggled, and Elira watched in awe. He did not sense its intentions, nor its anger, yet he faced it fearlessly. Finally, with one final strike, Alex caused the machine to collapse, breaking into pieces on the plaza stones. He stumbled, exhausted and wounded, but alive. Elira ran to him, tears in her eyes. You are incredible, she said softly. You do not sense like us, but you act. You care. I understand now. The bond is in your courage and choice, not in threads of feeling. Alex smiled weakly, panting. I told you. Humans show care through action. Sometimes it takes danger to make it clear. The other Solari slowly approached, watching in silence. The city had been saved, but not through sensing alone. Alex's actions had protected them, guided them, and inspired them to fight even when fear gripped their hearts. The council elder approached, eyes wide with respect. Human, he said slowly, we have underestimated your kind. You may not sense as we do, but your actions, they are stronger than threads of emotion. You have taught us something important today. Elira stood beside Alex, smiling faintly. I know now, she said. I do not need to feel him through the threads. I see him in what he does. That is enough. That is more than enough. Alex nodded, exhausted but proud. He had risked himself, faced machines without fear, and protected a city that did not understand him fully. And yet, in doing so, he had shown the Solari what it meant to care without sensing, to bond through choice, action, and courage. As night fell, the Solari city was quiet once again. The twin moons rose, reflecting off broken crystal towers and the shattered machines. Elira stayed close to Alex, her green eyes bright with understanding. She had never known a bond like this, a connection formed through bravery and selfless action. Thank you, she whispered, her voice barely audible. For saving us, for showing me your way. Alex reached out and held her hand, gently but firmly. I told you, humans act. That is how we care. Sometimes, words and threads are not enough. You need to see it, and now you do. Elira nodded, her sadness from before replaced by awe and trust. She knew now that the human way was different, but no less real. She also realized that their bond, though strange, was growing stronger through shared experience and mutual respect. The palace guards began to organize the aftermath, rebuilding and securing the city. Sometimes you cannot sense it, but it is always there, in what we do, in how we choose to care. And under the twin moons of the Crystal City, a bond unlike any the Solari had ever known began to grow, stronger with each act of bravery and every choice to protect, proving that humans were not empty, only different, and their way could save even worlds. Part 4. Understanding through sacrifice. The Crystal City was quiet now, but the echoes of the attack lingered. Broken machines lay scattered across the plaza, their metal glinting under the twin moons. Alex Carter walked carefully among the debris, helping the Solari guards move heavy shards of crystal and repair small structures. Even though the battle was over, his work had only begun. Princess Elira followed closely. Her green eyes were wide with admiration and worry. Alex, she said softly, you risked so much. Why did you not wait for help? Alex shook his head. I could not wait. Humans act first when others are in danger. If I hesitated, many would have been hurt. I could not do that. Elira studied him, a strange warmth growing inside her. She could not feel the threads, the invisible bonds her people relied on. But she felt something stronger, trust, and respect, and perhaps something that might grow into care. The palace council gathered again that night, in a large hall where light glowed softly from crystal panels. The elder addressed the assembly. The human has shown courage beyond our expectations. He does not sense like us, yet his actions protected us all. We have much to learn from him. Some nobles nodded reluctantly, still unsure. Others whispered in approval, amazed by Alex's bravery. Elira stood beside him, proud and thoughtful. She knew that this was only the beginning. The city was safe for now, but dangers of the galaxy were never truly gone. The next day, a message arrived from the outer defenses. Scouts had detected strange energy readings near the edge of the city's borders. Alex studied the reports carefully. The readings matched patterns seen in other machine attacks, machines that were controlled by an unknown central intelligence. They could return at any time, larger and more coordinated. We must prepare, Alex said firmly. We cannot wait until they strike again. Humans act before danger reaches them. Elira nodded. I will help. I now understand your way more than ever. I will follow your lead. Together, they organized the city's defenses. The guards trained under Alex's instructions, learning strategies that relied on quick thinking, coordination, and courage. Elira helped where her people's sensing could guide them. Slowly, the city began to feel safe again. Yet, Alex knew the danger had not passed. Deep in the shadows beyond the city, the Central Machine Intelligence was awakening. It had observed the failure of its forces and would adapt. A larger attack was inevitable. Alex understood that to protect the city fully, he might have to face it alone, at great risk. He shared his plan with Elira. The core of their operation is far beyond the outer borders. If we destroy it, the machines will stop attacking. But I will have to go there myself. It may be very dangerous. I might not come back. Elira's eyes widened. No, you cannot. You have already risked so much. Alex took her hand gently. This is what humans do. We act to protect others, even if it costs us. I cannot guarantee my safety, but I can guarantee I will do everything to stop them. Elira's chest tightened. She could not sense his emotions, yet she felt the weight of his choice. It was a human bond, one made of action and sacrifice, not threads of feeling. She swallowed her fear. I will go with you, she said firmly. If humans act through choice, I choose to be by your side. They prepared for the journey immediately. Guards provided supplies, weapons, and protective devices. The air outside the city was still tense. Small machines and automated defenses patrolled the borders, searching for signs of life. Alex and Elira moved carefully, using the shadows and terrain to their advantage. Hours passed as they approached the central machine core. The structures ahead were larger and more menacing than anything they had seen. Energy pulsed from the machine's towers, glowing red and orange. Alex studied the patterns, calculating the safest route. Elira used her sensing to detect weak points in the machine's patrols. Together, they advanced slowly. Suddenly, the ground shook violently. A massive machine emerged from behind a hill, taller than any building in the city. It fired beams of energy that shattered rocks and trees. Elira gasped. Alex, it is huge. Alex did not hesitate. We cannot stop. We must move forward. Distract it while I reach the core. Elira nodded, understanding the plan immediately. She used her people's sensing to detect its blind spots, guiding Alex past danger zones. The machine followed, firing wildly, but Alex stayed focused. He moved with precision, courage, and determination. He did not sense fear, yet he felt responsibility deeply. Finally, they reached the central tower, a massive structure pulsing with energy. Alex studied the controls, the glowing interfaces, and the energy lines running through it. He realized he needed to overload the system to destroy the core. It was risky. If he miscalculated, the explosion could kill him. Elira placed a hand on his shoulder. I trust you, she said simply. She could not sense his feelings, but she understood his choice. It was enough. Alex nodded. Then, let's end this. He began rerouting the energy lines, carefully redirecting power to create an overload. Alarms blared as the machines sensed the disturbance. The ground shook again, and red lights flashed across the tower. Elira covered her ears, standing close but not touching the core. Almost there. Alex muttered, sweat on his brow. We can do this. A massive surge of energy shot through the tower. Sparks flew, the ground shook violently, and the machines outside faltered. The core began to glow brighter and brighter. Alex's hands were singed, but he did not stop. He made the final adjustment and pressed the last sequence. The core exploded in a brilliant flash. Energy waves surged outward, disabling every machine in the area. The ground shook one last time, and then all was silent. Smoke and dust filled the air, but the machines lay dormant, defeated. Alex stumbled, injured but alive. Elira rushed to him. Alex, you did it. You are alive, he smiled weakly. It is done. The city is safe. Elira studied him carefully. She could not feel his threads, but she felt the depth of his care in his actions, in his choice to risk everything for others. Tears filled her eyes. I understand now, she whispered. Humans are different, but stronger in ways I never knew. The bond is in what you do, not what you feel. Alex nodded, exhaustion washing over him. Sometimes, the strongest bonds are the ones you cannot sense. The ones you build by choice. The Solari guards arrived slowly, staring in awe. Their princess stood beside the human who had saved them all. The elder approached, eyes wide with respect. Human, your courage and sacrifice have shown us a new way. Not through sensing, but through action. This is more than we ever imagined. Elira squeezed Alex's hand gently. I will never ask why you do not sense me, she said softly. I know you care. I see it, and that is enough. More than enough? Alex smiled faintly. He was injured and tired, but he felt something he had never expected, understanding and trust. He had risked everything, and in doing so, he had shown the Solari and Elira that humans were not empty, only different. As they walked back to the city under the silver moons, Elira stayed close. I will learn your way, Alex, she said. Your way of acting, choosing, protecting. I will remember this day forever. Alex nodded, glancing at the ruined towers and the quiet machines. That is all I could hope for. Humans act because we choose to care. Sometimes that is enough to save worlds. The palace awaited them, still damaged but safe. The citizens began to emerge from hiding, whispering about the human envoy who had faced impossible odds. Elira led them forward, proudly at Alex's side. Together, they had faced danger, endured fear, and created a bond stronger than threads or sensing. That night, as the twin moons shone over the palace, Elira and Alex sat quietly in the crystal garden. She looked at him with admiration and a new understanding. He had sacrificed for her people without hesitation. She could not sense his feelings, but she could see the bond in every choice he had made. Thank you, she whispered again, for showing me everything, for risking yourself, for teaching me that bonds are made by actions, not threads. Alex smiled softly, his hand brushing hers. That is the human way. I do what I choose to do. Sometimes that is enough to build a bond, even one that cannot be felt. And in that quiet, damaged city, a new understanding was born. Elira had learned that courage and choice could create bonds stronger than sensing. Alex had shown that humans could act even when fear was overwhelming. Together, they had forged something new, something neither of them fully understood, but both would protect and nurture. The crystal towers reflected the moonlight softly. The city was safe, the machines defeated, and a new kind of bond had begun, one built on action, sacrifice, and trust, ready to grow even stronger in the days to come. Part 5. A bond beyond sensing. The Solari capital was finally quiet. The machines had been defeated, the city repaired, and the people were safe. Alex Carter walked through the streets with Princess Elira at his side. The damage from the attacks was still visible, shattered crystal towers, broken gardens, and scorched streets. But there was a sense of hope now. The citizens had survived, and the human envoy who had led them through the chaos had earned their respect. Elira looked at him as they walked. Her green eyes reflected both admiration and a quiet joy. I have watched you, Alex, she said softly. You do not sense the way we do, yet everything you did, it showed me who you are. Your care, your courage, your choices, they are stronger than anything I have felt before. Alex smiled faintly, feeling the weight of her words. Thank you, Elira. I acted because it was necessary. Humans act when others are in danger. We show care through action, not invisible threads. I am glad you understand that now, she nodded. I do, and I will never ask why you cannot sense me. I see it in what you do, and that is enough. More than enough. The palace council had convened once again in the grand hall. The elder spoke first, his voice calm but firm. The human envoy has shown us a new way of bonding and caring. We have learned that sensing is not the only path to connection. Humans act by choice, and in their actions, they protect, love, and bond. The other nobles nodded, some with surprise, others with respect. They had watched Alex lead, protect, and inspire their people. His courage had saved the city, and in doing so, he had taught the Solari something they had never imagined. Elira stood beside Alex, proud and calm. Humans are different, yes, she said, but they are not empty. They show care in ways we cannot sense, and Their bonds are just as strong as ours, sometimes even stronger. Alex looked at the elder. Thank you. I did what I could, but it was not easy. Humans rely on choice and action. It may seem strange to you, but that is how we care. The elder nodded slowly. We understand now. Your actions have spoken louder than threads of feeling. The city is grateful, and I believe the people will remember this lesson for generations. Outside, the citizens were beginning to rebuild. Alex and Alira walked through the gardens, noticing small groups working together to plant new flowers, repair broken fountains, and restore the paths. Children laughed as they played safely among the restored crystal trees. The city was alive again. Look at them, Alex said quietly. They survived because we acted, because we cared enough to protect them. Alira smiled. And you showed me a bond I could not sense. I understand now that courage, trust, and choice can create a bond stronger than threads. I feel it in my heart, even if I cannot sense it. Alex nodded, feeling a strange warmth. He had never thought humans could teach others about connection this way, but it seemed that action spoke louder than anything else. Alira's trust and understanding were more real than any invisible thread. Over the next few days, the palace continued to repair the damage. Alex assisted wherever he could, helping the guards and citizens rebuild. Alira stayed close, learning from him and observing how humans acted. Slowly, she began to adopt some of his ways, making decisions quickly, helping others through choice, and showing care through effort. One afternoon, they walked to the highest tower in the palace. The view was breathtaking. Crystal towers glittered in the sunlight. The gardens stretched far below, and the twin moons hung in the sky like silver ornaments. Alira stood beside Alex, watching the city she loved so much. You changed things here, she said softly. Not just by saving the city, but by showing me a new way to bond. I never knew it could be like this. Alex smiled. Sometimes differences can be a strength. Humans act in ways others cannot sense, but that does not make us weak. It makes us capable of protecting and caring in ways others may not understand. Alira reached out and held his hand. She could not feel an invisible thread connecting them, but she felt his bond in every choice he had made, every risk he had taken. I trust you, Alex, she whispered, and I will stay by your side, learning your way, understanding your heart. Alex squeezed her hand gently. And I will stay by yours, teaching you the human way of action and care. Together, we can protect this city, and maybe even more. News of Alex's bravery spread across the capital. Citizens spoke of the human envoy who had faced impossible danger to save them all. Guards and nobles learned from his strategies, adapting some of his methods to improve their defenses. Alira guided them, combining the Solari way of sensing with the human way of acting. The result was stronger, more resilient, and more united. As days turned into weeks, the palace and city fully recovered. Flowers bloomed in the gardens again, crystal towers shone in the sunlight, and the people laughed once more. Alex continued to work quietly, helping wherever needed, guiding the guards, and teaching Alira and others the human way. One evening, as the sun set, Alira and Alex walked through the central garden. The water of the reflecting pool mirrored the sky, and soft wind moved the flowers gently. She looked at him with a smile that was calm, confident, and full of understanding. I have learned so much from you, she said. Your bond is not something I can sense, but I feel it in everything you do. Your courage, your care, your choice to protect us. That is your heart, Alex. And I trust it completely. Alex looked at her, feeling something deep in himself. I have learned from you too, he said. Humans may not sense the way Solari do, but I have learned the value of connection in ways I never expected. Trust, patience, and understanding, these are bonds too. I am glad we found each other. Alira smiled softly, green eyes reflecting the light of the moons. We did. And now, we can build something stronger together. Not through sensing alone, but through choice, courage, and care. Alex nodded. That is enough. Sometimes, the bonds we choose to create are the strongest of all. The palace gates opened slowly, and citizens passed by, bowing respectfully to the human who had saved their city. Alex and Alira watched quietly, side by side. The people no longer feared the differences between humans and Solari. They had learned that care and courage could take many forms. "Look at them," Alex said quietly. "They are stronger now because we acted, because we chose to protect them." Alira squeezed his hand, feeling the quiet strength of his human bond. "And we will continue to protect them, together, in our own way." As night fell, the twin moons reflected off the crystal towers. The city was peaceful, safe, and alive. Alex and Alira stood together, not connected by invisible threads, but by a bond forged in action, courage, and trust. It was real, unbreakable, and powerful. "I do not need to sense you," Alira whispered, looking at Alex with warmth. "I see you. I trust you. And that is more than enough." Alex smiled, feeling the weight of their shared experiences and the new understanding they had created. "And I will always act to protect you and this city. That is the human way. It is enough for me, too." Together, they walked back into the palace, side by side. The city was quiet, the people safe, and a new era had begun, one where humans and Solari could understand each other, not through threads of feeling alone, but through actions, choices, and the courage to care. The stars shone brightly above, reflecting in the crystal towers, the gardens, and the calm waters. A bond beyond sensing had formed, strong and enduring. Alex and Alira had faced danger, learned from each other, and discovered a connection that neither could break. And in the quiet of the palace, under the light of the twin moons, they knew the same truth. Sometimes, the strongest bonds are not the ones you feel, but the ones you choose to create, nurture, and protect.